hope you guys know a little bit about gladiators. I researched a little bit. I have a little bit of knowledge, and I really talk about it. Then, Stefan, love you. All I'm gonna say. If you guys, can I get a shout out? I know she doesn't stream. We're gonna try and get her to stream. We're gonna try and get her the equipment to stream because she's incredibly talented and wonderful. And yes, I want to see your scarred and stained hands and face doing awesome shit. So I need a shout out, please. Shout out, give her a following before she even starts streaming. I need this. Thank you, Wolf. I appreciate you. I mean, I can help you with that. I'm very good at that. Yes, yes, yes. You're so pretty, run it. Mwah. That was for you. Alright. So, preface, before I actually get into this, when I start talking about what I'm talking about, I don't look at chat very much. I kind of ignore you guys unless I have a question. Then I depend on my mods to take people's questions and like highlight them for me so I can address them. Once I'm done with my actual script, we have a post discussion. So I get to interact with you then. But I have all of the things that I want to talk about. I hope that you guys enjoy the show. Oh. Yes, you should. Yes, you definitely should. Hi, kiddo. You have an interest in audiobooks? Wolf! You guys are ridiculous. I love you. Alright. I'm gonna get started. So, welcome to episode 17 of Between the Pages. I really can't believe that we're already on 17. Some of Between the Pages is actually separated into called paper cuts. Paper cuts is a segment that I do to showcase and exhibit all of the artists and craftsmen, hint, Mia, that we have in my community, our community. I have a lot of people that I've been shared with from the Legends of the Vibe multiverse, and I'm so glad to welcome them to Earth and home that we have here in Parchment Mite server, and I really want to welcome you guys in. So Paper Cuts is an exhibition of artistry and craftsmanship. I give you guys a prompt typically, and you have a week and a half to work on a project that that inspired you from the prompt that I give. So it started off as a writing prompt, and now I've opened it up to every type of artistic expression that you possibly. If you can create it, I can exhibit it. There, I will do. Not infringe upon copyrights. I will be very. But today is the 17th episode of Between, and we are discussing The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. And let me tell you, I was in Afghanistan when I first read the Hunger Games series. I devoured it. I like crave having the while I was away. I was able to get digital books. I don't typically like digital books, but there obviously I couldn't get access to books freely. So I got a Kindle, I downloaded the ebooks, and I fell with Collins. I fell in love with her characters, her showcase, her style. It was beautiful. And I saw these people, and and most recently she came out with the Ballad of Songbirds. So this book is actually able to here to discuss. So Ballad is the prequel installment to the Hunger Games series. So the reading of the initial series isn't necessary, but you will miss some of the references, and I have a spoiler-free synopsis that I always try and get from. I don't have Goodreads, and you are any story. Because Goodreads is where it's at. You can obtain a link in my bio, I do believe. If not, go ahead and book list in live chat. Let's see here. Also, if you're interested in audiobooks and books, and you live in America, I cannot say that it's international, but if you do and you live, I always endorse what is called Overdrive, and take your library card, so your free library card, and input it into Overdrive app, and you have access to the entire repertoire of audio and for free. Sometimes there's a waiting list, it sucks, but free, and I always, as a librarian, try and endorse Overdrive or Libby to get that. Our spoiler-free synopsis comes from Goodreads. It is the morning of the reaping that will kick off the 10th annual Hunger Games in the capital. 18-year-old Coriolanus Snow is preparing for his one shot at glory as a mentor in the games. The once mighty House of Snow has fallen on hard times, its fate hanging on the slender chance that Coriolanus outcharm, outwit, and outmaneuver his fellow students to mentor the winning tribute. Alright, guys. I'm actually going to bring this down to make sure that you can... Sorry, I love you. Is my mic cutting in and out? How is that any better, guys? See, I told you. Fix your mic. I'm trying, guys. Can you hear me now? Hold on. Hold on. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yes, better? See, I told you it's got to be down here in front of my face where I'm going to punch it. Alright, so I'll get back through the spoiler-free synopsis. I hope you guys heard me about Overdrive and Libby. Always technical difficulties, guys. I am so sorry. Alright, so our spoiler-free synopsis comes from Goodreads. Command book list if you would like to follow me or recommend books to me on my Goodreads account. You can certainly do that. Thank you guys for bringing that to my attention. Alright, so our spoiler-free synopsis from Goodreads. It is the morning of the reaping that will kick off the 10th annual Hunger Games in the capital. 18-year-old Coriolanus Snow is preparing for his one shot at glory. As a mentor in the games, the once mighty House of Snow has fallen on hard times, its fate hanging on the slender chance that Coriolanus will be able to outcharm, outwit, and outmaneuver his fellow students to mentor the winning tribute. And Apollo, Audible is not bad, but Overdrive and Libby are free. Okay, continuing. The odds are against him. He's been given the humiliating assignment of mentoring the female tribute from District 12, the lowest of the low. Their fates are now completely intertwined. Every choice Coriolanus makes could lead to favor or failure, triumph or ruin. Inside the arena, it will be a fight to the death. Outside the arena, Coriolanus starts to feel for his doomed tribute, and must weigh his need to follow the rules against his desire to survive, no matter what it takes. Okay, so that's the spoiler-free synopsis. If you would like to read the book Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and not have the ending or the plot spoiled, I'm sorry, I'll talk to you later. But if you would like to hear my discussion about what I thought about it and what it contains, then please stick around, because that's why we're here, right? Man, I really wish we could do like a virtual book club. It would be great, so you guys could like have a little more context whenever you visit. I do try and post what I'm reading, but you have to keep up on Goodreads. Okay, so my thoughts on this. Ballad presents a young Coriolanus Snow, and if you've read The Hunger Games, you know who he is. In the end of his academy education, his family fortune was eradicated in the war against the rebellion, and his remaining family members, his grandmother and his cousin, have lived more than a decade on the heirs of their name. This has gotten them by barely without starving, and his family still believes that their name demands respect. His family cannot afford his university education, and he is forced to rely on winning a prize at the end of term to pay his way. In order to do this, he must perform well as a mentor in the Hunger Games, a new program the Academy has instituted. When Coriolanus, receives his assignment of Lucy Gray, the girl tribute from District 12, he believed his dreams of a prize and a university education were gone. Capital citizens, adults, and children alike looked down on the district people as no more than animals that belonged in cages. The tributes were housed in the monkey house of the old zoo in the capital. The people mocked and jeered at them at first. Why? Why did they do this? Why did they feel the need to look down on other human beings? Why would a society so contemptuously segregate themselves from those that live in a different area? Simply by living in a different area. Why such a caste system? Each district is more despised the farther down from the capital they are. You get a little more respect when you live in District 1. You get a little less respect in District 2, a little less in 3, and it's so on and so forth. And that is why when Corio received the assignment of the girl from District 12, they counted her out immediately as going to be dead. And I can tell you that for certain because when they went to do the interviews in the very beginning, Coriolanus was the first person because they were like, oh, we want to get your interview in before she dies. Yeah, that's a lot of vote of confidence. Even though there is poverty in the capital itself, the districts are lesser, somehow less human. Even their governing officials are looked down upon. And what does that say about our society? What does that say about our society in history? The Hunger Games seemed a lot like the Gladiator Games to me. And I thought about this initially anyway when I first read the Hunger Games, not just now that I've read the Ballad of Songbirds and Songbirds and Snakes. I thought a lot about it. And like, what was the purpose of that? Why do you take humans that you actually look down upon and then use them as entertainment? Like, I like to think about it as most of us who know about like history, I know a lot about English history, and the court jester was obviously his fool, right? The person that could mock the king pretty much unceremoniously. But also, this person who was lesser than the king, looked down upon, but he was also immortalized. It was such a weird concept. It's still such a weird concept to me, anyway. So I pulled a description from Wiki because it was really succinct, and I wanted you guys to get kind of the information because their definition of the gladiator and what was going on in the Hunger Games is practically the same thing. A gladiator was an armed combatant who entertained audiences in the Roman Republic and Roman Empire in violent confrontations with other gladiators, wild animals, which later on in the Hunger Games were introduced, and condemned criminals. Some gladiators were volunteers who risked their lives and their legal and social standing by appearing in the arena. I mean, cool, I guess. But most were despised as slaves, fooled under harsh conditions, socially marginalized, and segregated even in death. Irrespective of their origin, gladiators offered spectators an example of Rome's martial ethics, and in fighting or dying well, they could inspire admiration and popular acclaim. They were celebrated in high and low art, and their value as entertainers was commemorated in precious and commonplace objects throughout the Roman world. So I actually want to stop here for a second in the wiki explanation. Hunger Games tributes in later games were treated well. Prior to Coriolanus's experience in the Hunger Games as a mentor, he was at the 10th Hunger Games. So 10 years of Hunger Games. This is 10 years after the rebellion. And they threw these people, these 24 people, in a cage, in a zoo. Didn't feed them. They went 5 days without eating until Coriolanus and some of the other mentors brought them food. They did it not for reasons to be humane, because they still looked down upon these people. They did it for, well, except for one. They did it for acclaim. They did it for, oh, look, I'm bribing my tribute to perform for you. What? Just what? Okay. So later, as soon as the 10th Hunger Games was over, so we're going from the 11th on, the Hunger Games tributes were treated well. They were fed. They were housed in wonderful, beautiful, lavish apartments. They were given bounteous food. And they were celebrated before thrown into an arena to kill each other. And, oh, also they were trained. Don't forget about that. They're given money and a legacy for being the victors, but back in their district still, because they're not capital citizens. Once you are victorious in the Hunger Games, they're like, oh, great. You gave us like a couple of weeks of entertainment. Now go back to your district and you have this cool house now. But you're still district. So we're going to treat you badly and look badly upon you. All right. I'm going to continue this wiki. I'm sorry, guys. God, it was such a good book, guys. It was such a good book. I'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to finish the wiki, I swear. The origin of gladiatorial combat is open to debate. There's evidence of it in funeral rites during the Punic Wars of the 3rd century BC, and thereafter it rapidly became an essential feature of politics and social life in the Roman world. Its popularity led to its use in ever more lavish and costly games. The gladiator games lasted for nearly 1,000 years. 1,000 years of treating people this way. Reaching their peak between the 1st century BC and the 2nd century AD, the games finally declined during the early 5th century after the adoption of Christianity as state church of the Roman Empire in 380. Although beast hunts continued into the 6th century. We're not even going to talk about that. But that's the majority of what I compiled about this. So, mods, do we have any interjections? Do we have any what game is this? This is not a game, Vegas. This is my Thursday book discussions, literary discussions, and I'll get to games later if I can get my Xbox working. But besides that, guys, you object? What do you object to? But yeah, this is The Hunger Games is a dystopian fiction series. The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes is its prequel, but it is synonymous with something that has happened in our history. In the world's history, at least. Because I am not Roman, but still. Why? What makes any one human, any one place, superior to anyone else? Why do societies have to make a caste system where you serve me, you are lower than me? Does anyone have a thought on that? I don't necessarily need an answer, but it's something to think about. This is dystopian fiction, guys. Fiction. But so close to home. Like we talk about Orwell, 1984. We talk about that as guys, there are people right now watching this, monitoring this, and they know what I'm saying and doing. Personally, this is a personal thing. I have a video monitoring system for my child because my child has a very rare medical condition, and I have to be able to monitor her because she's safe all the time. And my biggest worry about getting this system that was pretty well essential for her safety was that somebody's gonna be able to look at it. Someone besides me is gonna be able to look at it. Well, Mass says this is human nature. Thor says, I've always kind of understood the basic ideas of a caste system, but I've never understood the idea of superiority that tends to follow it. I guess I can understand it, and I guess it's human nature. But I'm one of those people where if you want to talk about successful dystopian systems, political systems and societies, who remembers reading The Giver? Does anyone remember The Giver? There was like no money in that society. And yes, I know this is like socialism or like that, I don't know. But every member of that society had a job to do that contributed to the well-being of the whole society. And why is that a difficult concept? Like, you can still have successful people, you can still have wealth and prosperity, but why would it not be fair and logical for us to have that as a basic human right when you live in a society, when you live in a nation, a country? Why is there not a baseline? I'm sorry. That maybe that's too political. Maybe that's too much. Wolf, what you got here? Human nature, the us versus them mentality is seen in how other civilizations evolved around the world based on available resources. I have 5 cows, you have 1, so I'm superior to you. That is weird human mentality. I mean, it's true. That is true. Mass, I didn't say that you had to agree with that. I didn't say that. But I mean, it's a thing. It's apparently something that's innate in people. And I don't know if it's just in like certain personalities who assume authority roles in governing societies. I don't know if that's a thing, if that's like a reason. But hey, whatever. But literally all of history points at that being the case. Yes, I completely agree. Favorite book? Hardcore, is your favorite book The Giver, or are you asking what my favorite book is? I'm sorry. And my favorite Hannibal is here. Anyway, so okay. Yeah, it's just it's a thought. It's an idea. It's something that we're obviously never gonna solve, but it's what I thought about. It was very prevalent and prominent in these books. And unpopular opinion, that is a bit of a sidebar, I didn't enjoy the there were some parts of the Hunger Games that I didn't enjoy. Like, in the end, and I can't recall if it was just a product of the movie adaptation or if it was a thing, Katniss in the end became very... I'm gonna go with whiny. She became very, okay, I did this thing, now I'm gonna... No, I just can't. I can't do things. I am I'm like, no. And everyone was doing things around her, which is fine and great. Whatever. I really enjoyed the story. See? Yes. You agree? And it was hard for me, you know? It was really hard for me to... I think it was very interesting, actually. I appreciate the style that... You've never seen the Hunger Games here, man? It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah. I had a very, like, harsh mental battle when I first read them. Because, you know, you gotta be, like, Team PETA or Team Dude Face. Thor's brother. God, what is his name? Yep, I got nothing. But yeah, I had to like, there was a huge debate in my head that went kind of crazy. I was just really frustrated with Katniss throughout the story arc. Right? And then Primrose. Fucking, she was a hero. Omission. Historical data suggests that pre-agricultural revolution humans engaged in what we would consider more egalitarian practices with less social stratification. Thank you. Jesus. Thank you for that omission. I appreciate your input there. I love it. I love it. Yes. I just don't think that it would be difficult. And I love books like this that make you really think about it, because if you guys haven't read Ender's Game, one of my top 10, at least top 10, if not top 5. Ender's Game, that entire series is incredible from beginning to end. And it's actually written for youth fiction. And I don't normally enjoy youth fiction, and I know that the Hunger Games series is young adult fiction, but it's amazing. Ender's Game is really incredible. I always highly recommend it. If you're looking for something kind of dystopian, it's also sci-fi. It's great. You saw the movie? No, or Hades, that does not count. The movie, while I love Harrison Ford, no. Just bad. I really have got to stop reading the books before watching movies, because I feel like I harshly condemn theatrical adaptations after I've read the book. Except for some of them. There's like 3 that I like 3. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up the official portion of Between the Pages right now, because my editor needs to be loved, and this is actually a really good and appropriate amount of time. So thank you guys so much for hanging out for episode 17. Please stay tuned for the live interaction discussion. You guys feel free to talk about what we've said here, or we can talk about different books as well. But thank you guys for coming into episode 17, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, and I will catch you next time. Next week we have Paper Cuts, episode 4, I believe, and it is a freestyle. So all of my contributing artists will have free reign to show me anything that they want, and I can't wait to exhibit it to the rest of you. So take care, guys.